Hi, welcome back to my no-name channel. This is Bruce Pullman and this is another Bali Covid-19 update. And I haven't done this in a little while. I've been doing anthropology videos and Singaraja snippets, and today I'm back with a Covid-19 update. Why? Because some news again yesterday. It looks like the government is going ahead with the opening to international tourists, and we'll get to that shortly. But first, let's start with the numbers as usual, and we still have cases coming. 62 yesterday, 61 were local cases, one was an imported case. They were all domestic, all Indonesians, no foreigners, and we now have 3,058 cases. And take a look at this. Take a look at this image from the government from the last time, which was July 9th, I think. Take a look at the numbers there, and now take a look at the numbers for today. So this is how much we've gone up in a little more than 2 weeks. Quite a bit. So, in addition to the 3,058 cases, we have 2,322 recovered, 48 deaths, and 688 active cases. So those have gone down. That's some good news. And what about the country as a whole? We're getting up close to 100,000. We have 95,418 positives, and yesterday 1,761. So we're getting ready to open up, and we're still getting that many cases in a day in the country. It's not good news. Total 4,665 deaths. So nowhere near the U.S. We're not that crazy, but we've got some problems. And here's my map. I like that. So this gives you a look around the island at the numbers in the island. And yesterday the hotspot again was Denpasar. Gianyar was second, and Klungkung was third in the number of cases. And so let's talk about Bali opening. So there have been a number of articles over the last few days about Bali opening. One in English, and I've got one in Indonesian. There's actually been more, but I'm just taking these two. And so the governor said, yes, we're going to open following plans on the 9th. Remember, we opened for locals, and the 31st, that's just less than a week away. We're going to open for domestic tourists. And he said September 11th, we are going to open for international tourists. But protocols will be in place. Tourists that arrive will need to have a COVID-19 test done and need to be able to show that they're not positive and that the test is good for 2 weeks. Also, there's going to be a form to fill out. It sounds like an online form, self-check, that will let the government know where you're from, where you're going to go here, and how long you're going to stay here. So they're going to be checking on you. So if you don't like governments checking on you, boy, this is not going to be a good place to go. It sounds like they're going to keep track of people in order to try to keep the number of cases down and figure out what the foreigners are doing here. You know, we haven't had all that good of luck with some foreigners during this COVID-19 period who have been behaving badly. We still have foreigners wandering around the island refusing to wear masks, even though it's now mandatory, and I'll get to that in a minute. And so you're going to arrive, you're going to go through some testing, you're going to have to submit your forms. One of the articles, which was a meeting with local people and representative from the Justice and Human Rights Department in Jakarta, taking a look at how things are they ready to go, said that the free visa is going to be reconsidered, and they're going to look at VOA, visa on arrival. You'll have to pay, and with some restrictions, some stipulations. What those are, they didn't say. How long it's going to be for, they didn't say. So looks like they're still working on this. We still have, almost 2 months before September 11th. 7 weeks, 7 weeks. So, hotels, right, are going to have certificates. And I've talked about this before in some other videos. And here's a link to some of the COVID-19 videos that I've done. And so hotels are going to have these protocols, and on some of them you're going to be able to register online to cut down on contact with staff. People will be expected to wear masks in public places and follow the protocols, hand washing, hand sanitizers. I don't know if are they going to cut buffets out like they're doing in some places. That's probably something that's going to happen. Maybe more room service. All these things have not been concretely laid out yet, but we'll see. And the governor made a point of mentioning that there was 6.3 million tourists that were here last year, international tourists, and so we've got, not many. We've got these hangers on that have been here, and that's about it. And so Bali contributes 41% of the country's overall tourism revenues, and so we're a big player in tourism. This little island with 4.5 million people, we contribute that much of the income to the government based on tourism. So they want to get this open. And I took a trip down yesterday to Pamutran. First time I've been out of the city since the COVID virus, and the request by the government to stay home and unless you have to go out and all of that. And so I drove down to Pamutran yesterday. Pamutran, if you're not familiar with Bali, is a tourist area down in the west, close to Pulau. It's a popular place for divers. And I was down there and it was dead. I mean dead. It was sad. Everything was closed. I stopped at a restaurant where I used to have a few beers when I would go through Pamutran. Closed. Chairs up on the tables, nobody around. Same thing, I didn't see one tourist on the street. This time of the year, end of July, high season, usually people all over. There was nobody, it was like a ghost town. I turned around and went back towards Lovina. As I got in closer to Lovina, what did I see? Homestays right on the beach. Gates closed, nobody around. One after the next. Some for sale, some for rent. Houses for sale, houses for rent. Places that were open looked empty. I did see a total, and I counted them, 14 tourists in the Lovina area. And just to go back to the mask again, and I'll get back to that in a minute, one person wearing a mask out of 14 tourists that I saw. So it's sad. People's livelihoods, and as I said before, Bulang is less than 50% dependent economically on tourism, but it's sad. There's a lot of people in that area, in the Lovina area, and all the way down to Pamutran who are dependent on tourism, and so that's a big problem, and so that's obviously why the government wants to open up. But we've still got these cases, and so how is that going to work out? Are we going to have foreigners that come in here who get through, who are positives, but it hasn't shown up somehow? I don't know. Are they going to get infected by somebody once they start moving around the island? Because we're still getting 50, 60 cases a day, 30 cases a day. It varies from day to day. They get infected, and then they move around and they infect somebody else because the tourists are all packed together. I don't know. That's going to be a problem. And the government said, look, we want to open this up. We want to get the economy rolling. We want to get people back to work. It's hard times here in Bali. There's not much government support in terms of income. And at the same time, we don't want to go backwards. We don't want to have an explosion of the virus here like we've seen in other places when they've opened up, especially in the U.S. But even in Korea, they've got cases shooting up here and there. And they've been really careful, and the population's been really good about wearing masks, social distancing. And so that's the second question about opening up. Are people going to want to come? Well, yeah, some people are going to want to come because they don't care. They're either people that deny the coronavirus exists or that it's just a cold, despite scientific evidence, and I'm not going to argue that on here. It's pointless. People make up their mind, and you're not going to change them. I'm not going to change them, and I don't want to. If you don't believe in it, tough. Stay out of my way, stay out of everybody else's way. This is not, you don't have freedom to infect us. If you don't want to wear a mask, stay at home. Why should we stay at home when we follow the rules? If you don't want to wear a mask, don't go outside. Simple. Okay, so my rant about masks. So are foreigners going to want to come? I don't know. Some will. You know, Aussies love coming here, and they're our #1 group. Chinese, are they going to come? I don't know. There's problems in China. I don't even know if they can leave now. I'm not sure what the actual rules are there right now. Korean tourists are vacationing in Korea. Japanese tourists are vacationing in Japan. They've got the go-to travel program in Japan. And in Tokyo, they're not even part of that because of the number of cases that they've had recently. So, is this going to work? I don't know. Would I come if I was a tourist? I don't know. I say now, no, probably not. But on the other hand, then I think, well, maybe I could get some good deals. And really, it's only 50 cases a day. And, you know, if I'm careful, you know, who knows? Or, you know, if I'm arrogant and entitled and young, I'm young, so I'm not going to die. Well, young people do die, by the way. But, I don't know, people are going to make their own decision. And so, on the one hand, I want people to come so everybody's back to work. On the other hand, foreigners have been behaving here very badly in the past. And are they going to come here and be respectful and follow the rules? If they are, okay. So, we'll see what happens. And on something that's, well, I don't know what to believe about this. So there's this article that the governor says that he's discovered a cure, an Arak cure. Arak is a local booze. He's discovered an Arak cure for COVID patients who aren't seriously ill. And so you take the Arak and you mix it with eucalyptus oil and extract of lime, and then and you've got aniseed. And he said they tested the cases. He came up with this himself. They tested the cases on 200 people, and 80% were significantly better. I'm not sure how scientific that all is. He does have a PhD, but it's in math. Just like, you know, I've got a PhD, but it's in anthropology. That doesn't make me an expert on testing. Or creating a cure. So he says this is a cure. You don't drink it. You put it in a nebulizer. You breathe it in. And he said he does it every night before he goes to bed. And he's encouraged the health ministry to patent it so that Bali can make some money off of this. And he said, well, Arak's got two things now going. One is we want to promote Arak because it is our answer to Japanese sake and Korean soju. So one, it's a traditional local drink, and number two, it's healthy, and it can cure you from the COVID-19 virus. I don't know. I'll have to say, when I moved here, despite being an anthropologist, I was very suspicious about traditional cures, because there were a lot of traditional cures that were offered to me when I first came here, because I went through what a lot of foreigners do when they go to another country. You get Bali belly, you're sick, you get the flu, you get this, you get that, all sorts of new viruses. People were always offering me traditional things. I tended to stay away from it and stick with the regular drugs that you could get at the drugstore that the doctor prescribed for me. But over the years, I've used a number of my wife's traditional cures, and yeah, a number of them work. So I've got an open mind. I'd like to laugh about it, and I kind of do, but, who knows? Did he come up with something? It's possible. We'll have to see. So follow this if there's some more news about this in the future. And masks. So government reiterated again that it's mandatory for everybody to wear a mask if you're outside. That includes while you're on your motorcycle. And so there are different penalties. So far up to now, there's been people that caught in the market without a mask. People have been forced to sweep up the market and then go home. People pulled over on the side of the road, forced to do push-ups on the side of the road, and I had a photo of that way back a long time ago. There have been people that the police have put signs on them that say, today I didn't wear my mask, don't be like me. So you're shaming them. And in some cases I've seen policemen in Sigaraja give people masks if they didn't have them, or just tell them to go home and get a mask. And now there's supposed to be fines being implemented. I don't know, I haven't seen any actual report in the paper about a fine and how much that is. But if you're one of those people that don't wear a mask and you get stopped, hey, you've been warned many times. And maybe the government is going to crack down on this now that they want the tourists to come back on September 11th. Maybe they're going to get strict about this. Because if they're going to keep things under control when tourists come back, they're going to need to enforce the regulations that they've got in place. One of the things that Indonesia is not very good at is enforcing regulations. They enforce them sometimes they don't. It's why people don't pay attention to them a lot of times. Take a look at the helmet laws. In Singaraja, people wear helmets. Why? Well, because they've been busted many times, and so they got used to it. You go to other areas of Bali, they don't wear them. Why? Because the police have just let them go. So, it's mandatory to wear a mask. You can wear it on a motorcycle with a helmet on. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but if I can find the video, I'll put it right here. And you see, this is me down at the Chulukan Bawang power plant. And yeah, so I've got sunglasses, I've got the mask, I've got a helmet on. I'm following the rules. So if you're here, be respectful, follow the rules. Okay, and I read two stories on this, two different articles on this story, and this is about Indonesia's involvement in a vaccine. One had a pretty strange title. Basically, Jokowi wants the COVID-19 vaccine in 3 months. And then the other one was a little more factual and said that Indonesia is taking part in the trials for COVID vaccine. And so what is it? It's a vaccine that's been developed in China by a Chinese company, Sinovac Biotech, and in Indonesia, Biopharma, the pharmaceutical firm Biopharma, state-run firm, state-owned firm, is going to work together with the Chinese organization, and the Chinese company is testing their vaccine now in Brazil, and Indonesia is going to be running their test here. They've received a number of doses of this, and they're going to be giving it to 1,620 volunteers over in Bandung at Pajajaran University, and starts on August 3rd, will run through January. If it goes through the phase 3 trials okay, and the government gives it its approval, then Biopharma will start producing it. They have the facilities They can make 250 million doses a year. They're going to start out with 40 and then move up to 100 and I guess eventually 250. And so this is a possibility. But if the test ends in January and they've got to manufacture this and they've got to distribute it and they've got to put out public information about it, we're really looking at spring before this vaccine gets around. So we still got a ways to go. But it's positive. There's vaccines being developed all over the world now. Oxford and China and Korea and Japan, everybody's working on a vaccine. So let's hope for the best. And so that's about it. Gonna wrap it up. And I'm inside again because it's windy outside, and it's just too windy to film outside these days, even with this my little muffler here on my microphone. And so if you're gonna come to Bali, it looks like September 11th, and so I guess you can make plans, but make sure that when you do, if you're getting a ticket, that if something happens, you're going to get a refund, because, like I've said before, in some cases people haven't. So let's hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. Follow regulations. If you come here, be respectful. Wear a mask. Don't be an idiot. And be safe. Be kind to someone today. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see some of my other videos and be notified, subscribe. Thanks. Take care. See you next time.